distributed sperm or ova before the day on which the regulations come into force, which allow these establishments to continue to conduct their activities as long as they submit within 90 days of the coming into force of the regulations, which is May 4th, 2020, their application for registration or notification to Health Canada. On August 2nd, 2020, the remaining provisions will come into force related to the registration numbers. The safety regulations apply to donor sperm and ova intended for use in assisted human reproduction by a recipient who is not the spouse, common law partner, or sexual partner of the donor, and donor ova intended for donor's use as a surrogate mother. The safety regulations apply to all establishments and health professionals who process, import, distribute, or make use of donor sperm or ova for the purpose of AHR. The safety regulations aim to help minimize the potential health risk to individuals in Canada who use donor sperm or ova for the purpose of AHR, including the risk of infectious disease transmission and genetic disease transmission. Based on the definition of an establishment, this means an incorporated fertility clinic, unincorporated fertility clinic, a partnership between health professionals operating a fertility clinic, or the corporation of a health professional with an incorporated practice would be considered an establishment if they are conducting any importing, distributing, or processing activity. A health professional is a person who is authorized by the laws of their province or territory to make use of sperm or ova in assisted human reproduction. A health professional is not considered an establishment when the health professional only conducts the following activities: makes use of sperm or ova, distributes sperm to a recipient for their personal use, prepares, quarantines, labels, or stores sperm or ova for the purpose of their use by that person, or prepares, quarantines, labels, or stores sperm for the purpose of its distribution by that person to a recipient for their personal use. If a health professional is processing directed donations, they are considered a primary establishment and subject to the applicable requirements. Likewise, if a health professional is importing sperm or ova, they are considered an establishment that imports and will be subject to the applicable requirements. Primary establishments must ensure that sperm or ova are processed in accordance with the safety regulations prior to distributing or making use, and must ensure that any establishment that is conducting processing activities on their behalf meet the requirements of the safety regulations. Any establishment that imports sperm or ova must ensure that the sperm or ova is processed by a primary establishment that is registered under the safety regulations. The safety regulations were designed in a risk-based manner to provide a level of oversight over different regulated parties that is proportionate to the level of risk associated with their responsibilities. Primary establishments are required to register with Health Canada and are responsible for all processing activities in respect of sperm or ova, whether the establishment conducts them itself or another establishment is conducting activities on their behalf. Foreign establishments that are processing sperm and ova can either register directly with Health Canada as a primary establishment or be listed on the application for registration of a primary establishment as an establishment conducting activities on their behalf. Establishments that import or distribute sperm or ova are required to notify Health Canada. Please note that if a Canadian primary establishment has a foreign establishment conducting activities on their behalf, they are also considered to be importing and therefore subject to notification and importation requirements outlined in the regulation. Establishments that conduct a single processing activity, for example, a fertility clinic that only stores, and health professionals who only make use of sperm or ova do not have any registration or notification requirements. The safety regulations have provisions related to amending a primary establishment's registration. For example, if you are a sperm bank registered as a primary establishment and only process sperm and you wish to begin processing ova, you must submit an amendment to your registration prior to beginning processing of ova. Any other change to the information submitted in the primary establishment's registration application form must be submitted to Health Canada within 30 days. Establishments that have notified of their import or distribution activities must also submit within 30 days a notice identifying the change or cessation of activity. Okay, whether you are a registered primary establishment or an establishment that has notified Health Canada of your import or distribution of sperm or ova, you are required to submit an annual attestation of compliance on or before April 1st every year. Please note, if you register in February of 2020, you are required to submit a statement of compliance by April 1st, 2021, and every year thereafter. The registration application notification form to be used to submit your annual statement of compliance. We anticipate that we will send out reminders to establishments early in the year to remind them of their obligations to submit by April 1st. Under the regulations, Health Canada has the power to suspend or cancel a registration when there are reasonable grounds to believe the safety of sperm or ova or human health and safety has been or could be compromised. Health Canada can also cancel a primary establishment's registration in a number of different circumstances that are outlined in Section 16 of the regulation.
So now we'll move on to providing an overview of the processing requirements. So the safety regulations include two donation pathways by which donor sperm and ova intended to be used for assisted human reproduction can be processed. The regular process requirements apply to all donor sperm and ova to be used for the purpose of AHR. However, in the case where the donor and the recipient know one another, the donor sperm or ova may be processed in accordance with the directed donation process requirements. The directed donation process intends to provide the recipient with more flexibility in selecting their donor while still prioritizing the safety of the donation. These donation pathways are designed to account for the overall health and safety risk associated with each type of donation. As such, the donations under the regular process are considered to be of higher